I was staying up late finishing up some schoolwork. It was just me in the house. My parents were out of town and I was an only child. I was upstairs in my room working on some work. Then I hear a bang coming from downstairs. At first, it freaked me out. Then I just thought maybe something just fell. But that was a very large bang for just something to fall over. So, let me go check it out, I said. So, I went downstairs to go check it out, and I see that the window is broken. I was a little scared at first, but then I thought, it's storming outside, so it has to be the storm and the strong winds. I called my parents to let them know what has just happened, but they didn't pick up. I'll just call them later, I tell myself. As I'm walking upstairs, I hear drawers and cabinets open and close rapidly in my kitchen. I walk back downstairs to my kitchen to go check it out, and it's some man. He looks like he's homeless and was looking for some food. He gave me this weird stare and smile and started walking towards me very slowly. What he didn't realize was my knife set was right next to him, but he didn't look back to see it. He tried grabbing me, but I ducked and went over to my knife set and grabbed a knife. I held it in front of me to defend myself and told him to get lost and that I was calling the cops. The man backed away and then jumped out of the broken window and there was no sight of him. Then the police arrived. I told them what has happened and they told me that they never found the man. To this day, I am scared of being alone and I always wonder what would have happened to me if the man saw the knives behind him. Would I still be here telling this story?
I had a long day and even longer night and was so tired getting home. I knew that my husband would be fast asleep when I got home. I crept upstairs quietly and got dressed for bed, then crept in, not to wake my husband. I was just about to go to sleep when I heard something. I thought it was my husband up and about, but then I knew it wasn't, as I could hear his snoring. Thankfully, my husband didn't snore loud, but I could hear his faint snoring, which told me he was definitely asleep. I had no pets, so it couldn't have been a cat or a dog. I froze in my bed when I heard another noise. This time, it was in my room. I didn't move and opened my eyes just a fraction. I could see a dark figure across my room wearing a ski mask. The figure was over by my jewellery. My heart thumped in my chest and I felt like screaming, but didn't want to advertise I was here. I knew, of course, whoever it was had seen me, but I closed my eyes and pretended to be asleep, hoping they would leave and I could wake my husband and lock the door and call the police. I didn't want them to know I was awake for fear of some altercation where anything could happen. Whoever was in the room, it could be a crazy man or woman, they could be a serial killer or just some crazy addict. All these crazy thoughts ran through my mind as my heart beat faster and faster as I felt sweat fall from my brow onto my cheek. I continued to be asleep. I could hear footsteps on my carpet, but couldn't figure out which part of my room they were coming from. Suddenly, they stopped. I listened intently for more movement, but heard none. I hoped and prayed whoever was in my room were making their way downstairs now and would leave my house immediately. But I froze in fear when I heard a sinister voice in my ear say, "I know you're awake." Teresa was worried about her sister Judy. Judy was arrested several times in the last few months and recently was put on house arrest. She was pleased that her sister was at home and knew that all her friends were forbidden to call to see her. She knew that Judy hated being in the house the whole time, but also was happy that she wouldn't find herself get into any trouble by being able to go outside. Teresa was walking around her local park when she had noticed there was a trailer with a psychic in it. She wondered what a psychic would be like and knew she didn't believe in them, but she needed a distraction, so she went into the trailer. She hoped she was free to see her, and she was. A few minutes later, Teresa realized that the psychic had just confirmed she was a charlatan when she had been making no sense about her sister killing people today that were working in a restaurant. Teresa was smiling inwardly, knowing how could she kill anyone that works in a restaurant when she can't even go outside her door. Teresa tried to look as interested as she could, and she was actually enjoying the whole entertainment of it. The novelty value wore off fast when she had to pay the charlatan $20. She was cursing herself walking home, knowing she could have went to a great movie in the cinema and had a meal with her $20 that she spent on that damn charlatan. When Teresa got home, she noticed something looked wrong. Her door was open. She knew that her sister wouldn't have gone out. She hated prison and wouldn't risk that. As Teresa got nearer, she screamed as she saw 4 different delivery drivers dead just outside the door. Judy was standing inside the door in a daze. Thanks for watching The Assassin Rapper, and if you want to stay up to date on new content, then please subscribe and be sure to hit the bell to be notified on new content.
It was a Saturday night. My parents went over to my neighbor's house to drink and hang out, which meant I was alone at home. I was pretty bored and wasn't old enough to drink, so I thought I could try to invite my friends over. But none of them were allowed over, so I tried doing other things to keep myself busy. The doors weren't locked, so my parents could get in, since they were next door. I got bored and it started getting late, so I decided to lay down in my bed. And before I knew it, I was fast asleep. I woke up because I heard banging on my front door. I was really confused because my door wasn't locked and I expected it to be my parents because it was really late at night. It was around 2 a.m., so I got out of my bed to go see who it was. Weird enough, it was my mom. She asked if I can put her to sleep since she wasn't feeling too well. I said, that's fine, and I went to go put her to bed. I asked her where Dad was. She said she didn't know. I put her to bed, said goodnight, and went back down to my bed to go back to sleep. I was a little confused because my dad usually would come home with my mom. So I texted my dad asking when he would be home. My dad replied telling me that him and my mom will be home very shortly and apologized for being home this late. My heart dropped. I texted my dad that I just put my mom to bed. He said, that's impossible. She's with me. I said, are you sure? He said, yes. I'm looking right at her now. I texted my dad to come home right away. As soon as they got home, I told my dad everything that happened. He looked at me in shock. We went upstairs to my parents' room to check who that person was. When we opened the door, there was no one there. My dad thought I was playing with him, but I told him that I wasn't, that I was being serious. He laughs every time I bring it up and says, you got me good. I never found out who that lady was. It honestly still haunts me to this day. But all I know is the next time my parents leave the house, I won't be staying home alone again.